Well, I'm pleased to have with us today a very prominent commentator on the Sri Lankan situation, Mr. Asanga Abeyagoonasekera, who is the former executive director of the Katagama Institute in Colombo. That institute is directly related to allied with the Sri Lankan Foreign Ministry. Without further ado, welcome. We look forward to hearing from you and your analysis. The outside world has been, I think, I wouldn't say transfixed, but certainly extremely interested in the outcome of the really terrible civil war that Sri Lanka endured for a period of about 26 years. But as everyone knows, it's not enough to defeat a very brutal foe, in this case the Tamil Tigers, but also it's healing the nation in the aftermath of that. Asanga, could you give us a sense of what your government is doing in terms of national reconciliation and perhaps steps it's taking to prevent another outbreak of separatist violence?
Thank you very much, first of all. And well, we have a new government in Sri Lanka, we have a new president in Sri Lanka. So the former president of the government basically was working on the LLRC document, the Lesson Learned and Reconciliation Committee. But the implementation was quite slow of the LLRC recommendations. So if you look at the post-conflict reconciliation process, that's the most important element in the Sri Lankan society right now. So the Katagama Institute, which was the former executive director, we had about 8 national conferences on reconciliation and on various themes on, for example, on the role of business community, the role of women in reconciliation, and because we have about 40,000 widows in Sri Lanka, and the role of religious leaders in reconciliation. It was the last conference we had, and we managed to get all religious leaders from different groups, from Buddhism, from Christianity to Islam, and Hindu, and to talk on reconciliation, the importance of it. So the idea was to recognize like champions from the society, get their ideas and views also, and include the civil society to the process. Mm-hmm. And we're making progress, but it's a bit slow, I would say, because we had political transitions right now, and the focus was on the political, getting the political setup established, because we had the presidential elections in January 8th, and so we have the 100-day program going on right now, and the 100-day program includes abolishing or minimizing the powers of the executive presidency, and also transferring full powers to the Prime Minister and the Parliament, and the Right to Information Act, and all of that. So that's going on right now. So we have 40 days more until the 23rd of April. So which according to the presidential manifesto, that they would dissolve the government on 23rd of April. So that's going on.
So they dissolve the government on the 23rd of April.
Yes, that's right.
Is there some kind of caretaker government, or how soon will the general elections actually take place?
Well, according to the president's promise, that's what he said he would do it on the 23rd. But a lot of things, like if you look at the political culture, I mean, it's deteriorating every day. I see, like not only in Sri Lanka but also in the region. A few reasons is because promises that most of the politicians make and they can't fulfill. For example, like give you one example which happened like a few days ago now. The cabinet ministries, which are about 100 ministers, they promised to reduce the ministries, which was a good thing, and the president actually did reduce from 100 to 40. Mm-hmm. And 2 days ago he increased another 40. So he added another 40. So which is not a good practice. I mean, the general public wanted to see some sort of change, a transition, some difference, a good introduction of good governance, because there's high levels of corruption, which are part of the region, and which needs to be, we need to fight that, because the former president took the bribery commission, which was an independent commission, mm-hmm. under him, and the present president said he would empower the Rapid Commission, and which is an important element in our society. So I personally think that we should decentralize the Rapid Commission to other provinces so we can fight corruption. And I mean, if you look at the institutions, the government institutions, about 60–70% are running on losses. So we have weak institutions, and then we have political, they are all controlled by mostly political influence. So that needs to, we need to sort of improve the institutions in Sri Lanka. So those are the
I'm sorry, if you could report, these are public sector undertakings that are,
yes.
are losing money?
Yes.
Give me some examples.
Well, if you look at the transportation to losing billions, and you look at, I mean, most of the institutions are very weak and due to politicization. And if you look at the fund allocations also, I mean, it's the think tank I was heading was running 5 million rupees budget, which is very low.
Very low, yes.
So, I mean, one of the ministers who spent about 2 million, that was in the news a few days ago, and they mentioned that he spent for a day $2 million in gambling or something, but the government have paid for it. So this sort of thing, mismanagement of government funds. So, but the new president actually, Sirisena, he said that he would look into all this and correct the situation, which is really good. I mean, we're optimistic to see a brighter sort of future with him, and also the Prime Minister, who's a well-experienced Abeyagoonasekera, and who's been in politics for many years, and he believed in, even in his Independence Day message, for the 67th Independence Day we had this year, and he mentioned to build a multi-ethnic, multi-religious, a society that includes everyone, and which was one of the key issues for the problem we had, the ethnic conflict. So I think those are good elements, and he actually had mentioned that he would strengthen the process of reconciliation. Those are very important steps.
Well, I know that one of the issues that was raised by the insurgency, I'll call it, was the whole question of granting a degree of self-governance or autonomy to the parts of Sri Lanka where the Tamil minority is a majority. What are the prospects for some kind of federalization? I know that there are some members of the government who felt that was unwise, but that was the previous government. Are there any prospects for that, or do you think it's even necessary?
I think the 13th Amendment, which was introduced in 1989, I think that's the important step, because I mean, the United National Party, which the Prime Minister is coming from, and they supported, and they're the ones who bought the idea of 13th Amendment. There are a few parties who supported the 13th Amendment, which is a good step to devolution of power to different parts of the region. But there were nationalistic few groups who were against it, and this was the biggest problem we had, that we couldn't implement the 13th Amendment fully. So I think if you fully implement the 13th Amendment, I'm fully supporting the 13th Amendment and devolution of power, and which is the same position which my father was also a politician who was also took the same position, and many people died because of this reason. For example, 170 members of my father's party was assassinated because they stood for the position of decentralizing the power and devolution of power. So they believed in that. But the nationalistic groups were very strong, so they couldn't do much. And but I hope now they will be able to implement, at least keeping the military, the police and the defense powers to the center, but giving some economic freedom as well as some sort of powers to the north and eastern province. So I'm in that position. So I mean, they should do that, and because what we have is, for the first time, the railways, for example, the Northern Railway is functioning now, and that's a great thing. And
so this is from Colombo to the Jaffna Peninsula?
Jaffna Peninsula. So these are great stuff. Infrastructure is coming up, but infrastructure alone is not enough, but you need to sort of work on the reconciliation process. Plus, you need to address a few of the de-radicalization programs, and that's going on. And so there are a lot of improvement in those, but it takes some time to do. So, but with the economic conditions in northern East becoming better, I think country will prosper.
Well, you mentioned it's kind of a serious charge. You said you had seen the political, I think you said the political culture deteriorating day by day. Well, maybe, but many people would say that the recent election in January, in which a very strong government was voted out of power, and in which the previous president stepped down without violence, is not imprisoned or otherwise constrained. Many people, and I think people in the United States, I know in particular, thought this was a vindication of your system and established a precedent which strengthened Sri Lanka's democratic tradition. I mean, how do you square this victory with your views about the political culture?
I think the smooth transition was there. That's a brilliant thing which happened. But for that to happen, the values that Sri Lanka possesses as a democratic nation is far more than an individual. So an individual president who comes to office, because who comes to office is a representative of the people. So the values that we have, starting from the independence and what we have cherished as a nation, so that's far more than any individual. So that's probably the reason that everybody worked for. The change was from the social media, the 400,000 votes which got Rajapaksa out of the government was mainly from the majority of the minority votes and the social media groups. Youngsters who were part of it, I would say. So, so all that happened because of the. They know about what's happening around the world, and they would like to see some sort of different. Because Rajapaksa government, he was spending on a few unnecessary projects, I would say. So without addressing the core areas like poverty reduction and various things. For example, we were building a tower called the Lotus Tower. That is the tallest in South Asia, so which is unnecessary infrastructure. Spending money for something unnecessary. So, we could focus on right now. The country can look at the government can look at the poverty alleviation as well as various things that's happening. So I think Sirisena has mentioned all this. So, but he has only had few days in office. So the next challenge is the government. So the general election, and I think I would predict with a lot of underdogs who are coming. Like Arvind Kejriwal and most of them. Even the government, the highly power-centric Rajapaksa government was toppled. So I think there would be new faces in the parliament, and which is a good thing. I think rather than having the same old, the ones who have been there, and so the people would like to see a change, and that's probably the reason that this happened. So in the next parliament elections, we'd have to wait and see. So.
Okay, well listen, those are really important insights, and I'm really pleased to have an opportunity to talk with you today, and we hope we can continue this dialogue in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.